I was on mute. I was about to start talking without hitting my mute button. So anyway, how y'all doing today? I am Demetra K, and it is the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. Normally, y'all see that Donovan sits co-host, but he just got to Sasua in the DR, so he's a little bit on the tired side. So he will not be joining us, but of course, I do have a link. I know it's for sure on YouTube. I think it posted on Facebook, but if it did not, y'all come on over to YouTube so that you can be heard when I give the prompt to do so. Hello, Quita. How are you doing this fine evening? So I'll give everybody a chance to come on, but of course, we're going to talk about the Tyre Nichols tape. Of course, we are not going to show it, so I just want to be upfront with that. By now, you have all seen it. I saw it once because I just felt like I needed to see it if I would was going to be able to have a conversation. It's not something necessarily that I like watching. I'll be honest with you, it took me a very long time to watch the George Floyd video. I actually didn't start watching that until I actually covered it for the African Diaspora News Channel. And I watched the whole trial, and throughout the trial, they showed it over and over and over again from this angle, that angle, this person's point of view. And so as many times as I saw that, I never got numb to it. So I want to say that the Ahmaud Arbery one I did see, very heartbreaking. And this one was heartbreaking as well. But I am going to tell you about what I saw and just some things that I kind of picked up from the video, which is very disturbing. So I'll say that. Hello, Jen Michael. How are you doing? So, of course, this is a live show, as you know. And when I tell you to, I want y'all to click on the link and give your opinion. If you want to do that, come on, for a couple of minutes and just talk about what it is that you saw. So anyway, I will not belabor. Hello, Beverly. How are you doing? I also like to say a big giant thank you to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers. You are actually the third co-host. So hello, Brother Don. Hello, Love JJ. How are you doing? And Black America. Yeah, a lot of people have opted not to see it, and I totally understand. So anyway, let me go ahead and get into it for time's sake. So of course, L Boogie speaks to show. I sent you an email, but you didn't get it. But perhaps you can come on here, when I open up the link or whatever, and we can have a conversation. Wilbur, who else? Brother Reggie, how you doing? And Arif, how are you? So anyway, you say justice for George Stinney, or for what I understand, of course, he'll never get justice. That was the 14-year-old, if I'm not mistaken. 14-year-old, I think it was like 1908 or something like that. He was the first youngest person, I guess, at that age to be given an electric chair for something he did not do. He was posthumously, I think I said that right, pardoned, I think, by the Obama administration, if I'm not mistaken. But, of course, he didn't do it. So anyway, let's get into this. Robin, how are you doing? Of course, on January 7th of this year in Memphis, Tennessee, Tyre Nichols, a 29-year-old Black man, was driving. It looks like it was pretty late at night, early in the morning, because there wasn't a whole lot of other people on the street with him at all. So I'm going to give y'all what I saw. I'm going to not be too graphic, because I understand some people have not seen it, and rightfully so. So again, he was stopped for what it looked like by like 8 to 12. Well, yeah, I would say about 8 to 12 officers in total was involved, but there were quite a few officers that stopped him. Now, he was stopped at a stoplight, and it was just like all of a sudden. Now, this is from the body cam point of view at this point, right? So the officers kind of bum rushed his car and, get out, get out, get out, get out. And he was like, hey, what's going on, type of thing. Like normally when you are pulled over by police, and by the way, they said they pulled him over due to reckless driving. Okay, but I'll get to that. So normally if you're pulled over by the police, they'll pull you over, come up to the car. Hey, how you doing? Whatever. Do you know why I stopped you? No, I'm not sure why you stopped me. Well, I stopped you for reckless driving. Is everything okay? And then normally y'all have a conversation or whatever from that point. But on the video, none of that happened at all. So Admittedly, if I was him, I would have been scared. So nevertheless, he did put up a little resistance. Now, I should also say the car that initially pulled him over, a few of them, they were not typical police cars. They were just like regular Chargers, right? So if you were driving next to them or around them, you wouldn't automatically be like, oh, that's an undercover police car, right? Because I guess that's kind of what it was. And it was their gang unit, I guess it is. It's called the Scorpion unit that has now been disbanded. And so those officers weren't in regular police gear either. So you guys kind of see where I'm going. Of course, Tyre, after he got in a little scuffle, he did get away from him. Now, there was a white officer, which a lot of people did not know that until you saw the video. A white officer is actually the one that shot the taser, right? He shot the taser initially as Tyre was running. And it also seems like some pepper spray was sprayed too, because one of the officers actually was pepper sprayed and he was carrying on this, that, and the other. Now, mind you, this is all body cam footage. So Tyre, he's running. From what we know now, he's running to his parents' house, right? So when they catch up to him, now we're going to switch cameras. In Memphis, I guess they have cameras, the city cameras that are in certain neighborhoods or whatever. So when I tell you that this camera was almost like a director was up there shooting a scene, right? To me, that's what it looked like, because it was a perfect bird's eye view, unobstructed. There was no question as to what was going on with Tyre. Now, I should also say, when those officers, now when I say those officers, now I'm talking about the 5 officers who have been fired and now charged. When they caught up to him, he had made it, now listen to this, 2 doors away from his parents' house, because that's where he was going to, right? So when they caught up to him, and I'm going to try to minimize it because it was very hard to watch, a few things took place. They pepper sprayed him. And as one of the commentators said, it looked like they were trying to kill a bug. You know how when you spray, I don't know, roach spray, ant spray, or whatever, you're trying to kill a bug. That it did really look like that, right? Also, during that brutalization, because we want to call it what it is, he was kicked in the head a few times by those officers. At one time, and forgive me if y'all don't, want to hear the details, I understand. And I'm trying to, not to really go there. He was stood up after they did that to him. And, Billy Club was used as well, stood him up. And it's almost like they stood in a circle around him, taking turns hitting him. Now, mind you, he's handcuffed. So, he falls out on the ground. And forgive me, because I've seen it once and I won't see it again. So I'm trying to remember it as I saw it. I did take notes. He's on the ground, and then some other officers come up, and then they kick him as well. Now, mind you, he's pretty bad off, being pepper sprayed a couple of times, and all that I just described. Handcuffed, and he's on the ground. Then one of the officers, they dragged him, from where he was, and then kind of propped him up on the car that had, showed up. So, he's really incoherent and stuff at that point. Now, this is the body cam stuff that I'm telling you now, because the overhead camera, you couldn't hear, but the body cam, obviously you can, right? So the officers are bragging about what they did to him. One of them kept saying, oh, I rocked him. Oh, yeah, he kept trying to grab our gun. He tried to grab our gun. Now, mind you, most of the pundits that watched it, and, myself, I didn't see him going for the gun, touch the gun, or any of that at all. Then, of course, they kept saying, oh, he tried to swing on us. So this is all the conversations that's going on. And so a lot of the pundits, and a lot of them were law enforcement or ex-law enforcement people, they were saying, well, clearly they're saying that to kind of make up a reason as to why they did what they did. Because remember, they took him to the hospital, called the ambulance, saying, oh, he's having trouble breathing. That's what they said, right? Now, mind you, they didn't know that city camera was sitting there. They could not have known that, because I think that if they would have known that, they wouldn't have done what they did to him. Now, somebody's probably thinking, well, they had the body cams, right? And I'm going to get to y'all comments. Somebody's probably thinking, well, they had the body cams. True. Now, we know that when we have seen body cam footage, usually it's up close. You can't really see like the whole picture, right? You can't see the whole picture. You kind of see bits and pieces. You more than likely can hear everything, but you can't see everything in totality, right? So perhaps with these body cams, which they knew were recording, right? They were probably thinking, well, we just say this. Oh, he tried to grab our gun. He tried to swing on us. That's justification for what we did, right? Like we could get away with it. Not so, because again, they were being recorded. Now, also during this brutalization, he was yelling and crying for his mother. Now, again, his mom and his, dad lived 2 doors down. Why? I don't know. They didn't hear. It sounds like it was the middle of the night, so maybe they were asleep. I'm assuming that's what it was. But he did, and even one of the officers was like, "Oh, he's calling his mom. He's calling out for his mom." So they knew what they were doing to him, right? So, and I'm just trying to go through my notes. Now, of course, the officers that have been fired and charged to this point are, and I don't know if this is in order, but I'll tell you their names: Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith. They have been charged with felonies, including second-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, official misconduct, and official oppression. Now, it should also be said that the police chief, Saralyn C.J. Davis, she has only been on the job for 20 months. She said that as they looked at the city cameras throughout the city, said we saw absolutely no evidence of him recklessly driving at all. So they said it was an illegal stop, right? It was just no validity to it at all. So they did not have the right to stop him, which is why I guess the kidnapping charge kind of comes in, because a lot of people are like, kidnapping? Well, you detained the man and didn't even tell him why, really. And even if you were going to tell him why you did it, it was bogus, right? Completely made up. Now, of course, there's a lot of rumors out there I don't want to get into. One I just kind of learned about. I was like, I don't know. So I won't repeat it. But I've also seen with that, I'm going to take them down. I don't think. And you know what? The other thing that just kind of just pisses me off about this picture is some of them are smiling. You know what I mean? But when you, and I don't, blame y'all for not watching. I don't suggest you do. I did because, it's just kind of, I felt like I had to do it justice to tell you guys what I saw. But in this video, they are very heinous and monstrous and evil. Like after what they did to him, they're just high-fiving and and just so when you see these pictures up here of these officers, you don't get that they did that to him. I rather, what I should have did was compiled all of their mug shots so we could see that, because they weren't smiling as much on the mug shots. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna take them down because they make me sick. So, of course, unfortunately, there's been a lot of distraction and division going on in regards to what happened to dear Tyre Nichols. I've seen Black men and women going back and forth, accusing each other of, it's your fault as a Black man, it's your fault as a Black woman. Jason Whitlock, which is like, I don't know, he low-key blamed Black women, single Black mothers, for this situation. So I'm not sure if he was speaking more on the officer's side. Tyre's mom was married, his stepfather, who was very involved and, loved him dearly. So I don't know who he was talking about. Then, of course, you got dear Mr. Boyce Watkins, who, I saw somebody reposted his tweet talking about Black men are killing each other. So it's like, well, what are you saying exactly? You know what I mean? Because we want to talk about police brutality here. Then, of course, I've heard there's some Black women somewhere talking about good, that more brothers need to be deleted. And it's just a lot, right? But at the helm of all of this is white supremacy. I don't care what y'all say. I care what you say, but I'm saying in regards to this. At the helm of this is white supremacy because, yes, we know that black people kill each other at, more than anybody else, but it's the same with Asians and whites. It's about proximity. So we not, want to discount that, but we don't want to make that the issue here. These, and I don't even want to call them brothers. I'm going to call them demons. These demons worked for police department. And we know the inception of police officers here in America came from slavery, patty rollers, right? The slave patrol. So we know that they just got an opportunity as black police men to be a police officer. And they, took on the blueprint of they blue brothers. And again, I'm not absolving them what they did, because I think it's utterly disgusting that as black men, they did that to another black man. And not one of those black men said, don't y'all think we might be doing too much? Now I should also say that Demetrius Haley, he in 2015 was a correctional officer, and he was accused by an inmate of strip searching him and beating him till he blacked out. Now, the inmate, he sued, but the judge, in that case, threw it out. So now it looks like they might need to pick that up, because there's some validity to it, right? So we don't ever want to take our eye off of the bouncing ball, and that this is the job of white supremacy. And those demons were the tools of white supremacy, and they thought they could do that to a black man and get away with it with the same excuses that white officers get away with it. Now I should also say this, because I've seen a lot of conversations saying, well, white officers, they do it to us all the time. It takes forever and ever and ever and ever for them to arrest them and, charge them and fire. So we know that, right? But the other thing is, white officers, how can I say this? They are direct beneficiaries of white supremacy, okay? And black people are not dependent, and no matter what you think, and that one of their biggest mistakes is thinking that they could and would get away with it. Now, we also know that black officers are considered black. They black first. As far as, the blue wall of violence, that's what we're going to call it. In the words of Jay Electronica, the blue wall of violence, that's what that is. They're black at the end of the day. And so, I don't know. It's just really a lot going on. But I don't think that we should ever take our eye off of the culprit here. The culprit here is white supremacy. And so let me get to the comments, and then I'm going to open up the phone line, the link, so y'all can come on and give your 2 cents. But I want to clear this comment section as much as I can. Let's see here. And so welcome to everybody. Hello, Sunlight. How are you doing? Let's see. Love JJ. He says, I haven't watched either video of George Floyd or Tyre. It's very hard to do. If you don't need to watch it, don't. I know the family was telling everybody to watch it. And there's a lot of people, I know dear brother Phil is one of them, who won't watch it. And I don't blame you guys, especially brothers. It does put fear into you, So I don't blame anybody for not wanting to watch. And LJJ says, it won't mess up my thoughts. And let's see here. L Boogie said he will be glad to. Okay. I'm going to open it up in just a second. Let's see. And Brother Reddy says, I won't watch any of these videos. Our brothers and sisters are getting deleted. I'm going to start using that word. I don't blame you at all. Let's see here. I'm skipping down a little bit. Robin, he says, I watched the video. I was in a state of shock, numb. I was up all night trying to wrap my mind around it. And I was sitting right here because I was working, and I watched it, and I was just in horror, right? I had like a wave of emotions just ran through me. I didn't even know what to do with them, right? That's how hard it was to watch. And let's see. Quita said, don't forget they snatched him out of the car. Yes, they did. So it wasn't like he wasn't obeying orders per se. It was just kind of all happened so fast, And LJJ says, this is like a horror film unloading. I'm tearing up from anger. I'm pissed. I'm effing angry. So yeah, we need to talk about what can we do about it, right? Yes, poll cams, Robin, that's what they are. Monet, how you doing? And Darren, how you doing? Says that video was sickening. Yes, indeed. And 22, Ronan, how you doing? Says the law only exploits your misfortune. Gilvetta, how you doing? And Kiki, what's going on? He says, hey, Demetri, this case is so sad. That young man was handcuffed when they took those blows. Yes, it's inexcusable. He was handcuffed most of the time. Yep. And when he was in distress, they never even unhandcuffed him. I should say, too, Two of the paramedics were relieved of their duty until, further notice, because they kind of for one thing, it took them like 23 minutes to get there. And then when they got there, they're kind of all milling around a little bit. Also, two sheriffs were also relieved of duty until further notice, because no one even knew they were there. And even the sheriff, in charge, whatever you call him, he was like, yeah, I had to let them go till further notice because I didn't know they were there either. So there's a lot more to come. But again, what about the white man that jumped it off? You know what I mean? And if you ask me, kind of looking at it, it's almost like those 5 demons ran after him at the behest of that of the white officer that was on there. So he started it and they finished it. You know what I mean? Like, we'll go get him, boss. That's kind of what the gist that I get from it. And Tawana, how you doing? Says kicking him in the head is probably how they broke his neck. Yeah, it wasn't no taps either, like no little taps. It was very hard to watch. Yes, Brother Reggie, very sickening. And Robin says one guy sprained his foot from all the kicking and stomping that he did to Tyre. That was Emmett Martin III did that. Yeah, it was horrible. It was bad. Big Rich, how you doing? Lady Princess, Acrylic Kingdom, how you doing? Says I'm just in, but why the white guy wasn't getting charged? Well, I think he probably will now, because everybody's asking that question. Like, he's the one that kicked it off. He shot the taser. You know what I mean? And he had a whole lot of salty stuff to say about him as well. I think he called him a bastard once, as before they caught up to him. So it's like, yeah, why is he off the hook? Love JJ. He says pepper spray, kick. Yep, all of that happened to him. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I'm sorry, he did pass away 3 days later on January 10th of that brutality. Robin says they was getting their lies together for the police report. Yep, that's exactly. Thank you so much, Dennis. How you doing, by the way? Absolutely, they were trying to cover it up. Thank you, Vinny. How you doing? Brother Reggie says them murders don't care about them body cams. They continue to brutalize us with or without them. Yep, but they just been getting away with it. But with the body cams, it would been a little bit more hard to decipher. Okay, did he grab the gun? Well, the body cam didn't necessarily pick it up, but that camera, the pole cam, oh yeah, it caught everything. Jason, how you doing? Donovan is he's resting because he just made it to Sasua, Dominican Republic. So Gilberto says Officer 1 kicked Tyre in the head with the combat boot. Yep. And I won't read them just because I don't want to kind of traumatize people who are like still reeling from it, but y'all can read that. But absolutely. Dwayne, how you doing? He says, just sad and evil, these 5 cowards. Yep. And Monet says these cops were delusional and have been in America too long. If I didn't know they were black men, I would have thought they were white by your description of what happened. This is so sad. Yeah, a lot of people did. Because remember, it took them a while to even, for one, fire the officers, or even, I think it was like 2 weeks before they even disclosed anything about them. And then when it came out that they were black, people were like, you got to be kidding, So yeah, 22 running. And I hope I'm saying it right. It says money can't solve this. I agree with you. Let me go skip down a little bit. Sean, how you doing? It says it was hard. I mean, hard. I'm sorry. It says it was a white cop there. 2, why haven't they been charged no crimes? Yeah, everybody wants to know. Eric, how are you doing? It says a white cop got off uncharged so far, because they said that they're still investigating, right? And let's see who else came on here. Yes, Gilberto says the ambulance employees were there, I believe, 20 minutes. Yep, and did nothing to help Tyre, who was visibly injured, which is why they don't have a job, right? And Tawana says they were looking for a victim. He unfortunately was the first black man they encountered. But it's like, yeah, did you have to do all of that to him? I mean, aren't you supposed to say, hey, this is why we're stopping you? We didn't like the way you were driving. Like, they didn't even do any of that. It was just all of a sudden like this barrage of people just everywhere, right? So you can understand why the young brother was freaked out. Hell, I would have ran too. You know what I mean? I mean, you either have the fight or flight thing. You know what I mean? And I think he did what a lot of people would have done. Dwayne says the other cops there need to be locked up too. Yep, because they're saying it's still under investigation. Brother Reggie said they need to send all of them to Rikers and put them in general population and let whatever happens. I totally agree. But they are in Memphis, so I don't know if they'll be in Rikers Island, which is New York. And Robin says they called him every name but a child of God. Yep, they did. He says, I didn't know men call other men the B word like that. They're all punks. Yep, they called him a bunch of names and even mocked the fact that he was wailing for his mother. That right there is just like, oh, whew. 22, Ronan, I think he said. He says, audio is worse than the video straight. L, yeah, it is. Sean said he always sides with white supremacy, talking about Jason and LL. He says, and good evening to you. He says, good evening, Queen, and big hugs. I seen the video. It's so horrible that those black cops did that to him. It's enough that the white cops do this all the time to us. Yeah, I don't think we should ever be fooled. The black cops do it too. They do it. As they say, they crack the whip harder than the oppressor. Brother Reddy says Boyce needs to have a seat. Yeah, he seemed like he always jumping on something just to be the opposite or just for attention. I don't know. It's just kind of weird, Sunlight says Boyce Watkins' father is a cop. Is he? Oh, okay. Double A, how you doing? Says many times black officers treat you worse than white officers when they encounter you. I should have read your comment. Let's see here. Let me just move on down. So 22 Ronnie, you say Neely Fuller, basically saying what to do if you're encountered. Yeah, I don't think the brother had a really chance to even do all of that because they never, remember, they weren't in regular police clothes or regular police cars. So, I mean, like, who are you exactly? You're going to tell me who you are type of thing or what's going on, Hazel, how you doing? It says, my own opinion, myself as a black woman, I am staying out of this, will not speak of it and let our black men stand up and take charge. Okay. Yeah, I feel you on that one. But I think it's kind of all of our duty to speak up. But we also need to take action. So we'll get into that in just a few. I'm going to get down to these comments. And Bernard King, how you doing? He says, peace, sister. Reparations are due today. Yep. He says, please place all involved in LWOP, general population situation. Well, they usually don't. But they should, right? Brother Reddy says, it seems like the only qualifications needed to be a cop is can you be brutally violent? If so, you're hired. Yep. Peace and harmony, harmony and peace, tranquility. How you doing? And yes, y'all, if y'all can click the like, subscribe, and all that, I love it. Appreciate you for that. Dwayne says, pull up on these 5 demons. Well, and by the way, they have all bonded out. Just so y'all know, they've bonded out. All right, let's see here. Oh, I'm at the bottom here. Okay, and hello, Only Pamela's Way. How you doing? And let's see, Love JJ says, it's not fear for me. It's the ultimate anger I have. Yeah, it will make you mad. But it's like I said, it obviously made me mad, but it's very disheartening to know that not one of those demons who's supposed to be black men saw Tyre as valuable enough to say, you know what, maybe we should do something else. Okay, let's stop. He's already in a bad way and whatever. No, none of them. They were just. And I kind of think too, I mean, I think they're demons anyway, but I think it kind of made it worse because a couple of them ended up like accidentally pepper spraying each other. So I think they were kind of mad about that, which is where you heard them calling them all kind of names and things like that. And I just think that's just kind of made it worse for them, why they kept doing it, just evil. And Lady Princess says, I get PTSD looking at my people get hurt. Yeah, it definitely will do a number. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Because I'm not going to be one of those people say, oh, you just got to look at it because, it's just the way it is. No, I get it. There's a lot of stuff I do not inculcate into my psyche because I don't want to be affected by that. And this is not something, the video, I wouldn't recommend anybody watch it, especially if you don't need to per se, you know what I mean? All right, and Dwayne says we officially named them the 5 demons. Now that's who they are. Exactly the 5 demons. I like that. Frank, how you doing? Says don't let them get away with it. Make no mistake, they could have been any one of us, and it still could be. Of course, President Joe Biden spoke out. Obama spoke out. All these people spoke out about how outraged they are. But it's like Biden, y'all with the infrastructure bill that y'all trying to get passed, y'all allowed them to take qualified immunity out of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Qualified immunity would help that a lot because the officer personally would be responsible for, the finances and all of that of harming or killing somebody. But now the city picks up the tab. So Joe Biden, he can really shut his mouth because he the tweet is cute, but we need you to do more than that, And Shiloh, How you doing? It says, why is the need to watch these? Why is the need to watch these videos more powerful than the need to respond with our money and our feet? I mean, I totally agree with you, but I say the need for me to watch it is because I can't have a conversation with you all and not and talk about it to some degree without the knowledge. I'm just one of those people. I feel like I want to have as much information. I don't like to, me personally, speculate and all of that. So there's no need per se unless you're going to talk about it in some capacity, I would say. But I totally agree with you. Our money, our feet, and the way we delve into politics is very important. Brother Reddy says, sorry, Demetria. Sister Demetria, I'll try to start using the word deleted instead of the other. No, I mean, that's fine. But y'all know how to get down on this platform. So, of course, I'm speaking to the choir. Robin says, the white cop said, I hope they stomp him. I hope they stomp him. Yep, he had a lot to say. So it's like, was that the signal for them to go do it? Were they doing it because you said it? Like, what's going on? Did you incite that? You know, I would think that he did. Easy, how you doing? Long time no see. Says good evening, D. I'm familiar with these specialized units in these police departments. Does anyone remember Red Dog unit in ATL back in the early 90s? What do you think they got? Why do you think they got rid of them? I'm not for sure about that, but I do know as of I think yesterday or today in Memphis, they did get rid of that Scorpion unit. I guess it's like a gang unit, the kind of undercover type thing. They did dismantle that, you know, for obvious reasons, you know. Like, how you a gang unit and you acting like a gang, which is what a lot of police departments do. They act as gangs. I mean, we know LAPD, they ain't nothing but glorified gang members with badges, you know. Thunder, how you doing? And who else came on here? Yvette, how you doing? It says, if you pay close attention, you'll hear that the dispatcher was also complicit. Oh, wow. I'm not one of those want to watch it again because it was very hard to do, but I take your word for it. And welcome to the chat. And D1, how you doing? Says that blue line stops at black. You better believe it. It does not include black, you know. Only Pamela's Way says, I haven't seen the video and I'm not going to either. Yeah, you know, I don't blame you. Quita says, leave Donovan where he's at. Okay. Then she say, just deplorable. And thank you so much, Dwayne. I appreciate that. And Jeremy says, Jeremy has awakened. How you doing? He says, as Professor Black Truth says, the white cop had racial immunity from law. Of course. Had there been a bunch of white officers, they'd still be, well, we're looking into it. I know the poll cam showed y'all one thing, but we wondering if something else really happened. You know, yeah, they still be investigating. There's no doubt. But who should know that more than us? It should be the 5 demons, right? They should know that. They should know they ain't gonna get away with it, right? And the other thing is, y'all know they wouldn't have did that to no white people. That's a white man in the middle of the night in the street like that. Please. Quita says, they said they are part of the Scorpion Task Force. Well, there's no more. They've disbanded. And Edie says, because behavior like this, these units run free with little to no oversight. Absolutely. Frank says, Spectrum public surveillance, public access coast to coast. And Gavetta says, I feel that this was something personal and had nothing to do with a traffic stop. However, we will see once investigation is done. Yeah. And I should say that the chief of police there is a sister. I don't know if that means anything, but she did say when she came on that she was going to not tolerate that type of stuff, and the DA as well, which is kind of why I think it moved quickly, because I think the DA is new too. Don't ask me how you doing. He said he was 6'2", 6'3", 140 pounds. He talked about Tyre. I guess he had Crohn's disease, so I guess it made him a disposition to be on a slender side. So yeah, he was very didn't weigh much, you know. Thunder says, question, I wonder if they're part of that I'm not black, I'm blue crowd. Well, they found that wasn't true, right? Robin says they shut the Scorpion unit down permanently after the video was released. Yep. Let's see, let me skip down. Kiki says, what do we do about it? I'll say this is the time to fight to end qualified immunity. That's the first step to ending this. This is getting worse. Behavior of police officers are getting worse. In my opinion, ending qualified immunity is the first step. Yeah, but that's up to Congress. And even the black so-called congressional caucus, they James Clyburn was like, I'm good. We could take that off now if it means getting the infrastructure bill passed. We don't need that. We'll come back to it later. So a lot of the black politicians there in Washington, they were cool with it. So, you know, because they know they know how we as black people are. They know how we get down. But I'm gonna leave that for the open discussion. Jan Michael says, no matter how long the chief was actively on duty, she should be held accountable as well as the city. Yeah, but you know, I can see where you're going with that, but I think she did her job because she can't control everything that they do. Now the problem comes into play when she makes excuses. You know, she'd have made excuses, then yeah, that would have been an issue, I think. And let's see here, Sharon, how you doing? Says hello everyone. I didn't watch the video. They advertised it like it was a movie review. Yep, it was like a premiere, right? It was like they were having a movie premiere. That's kind of how I saw it. Willie, how are you doing? Let's see, skip down. And Gavetta says, yeah, they bonded out. Let's follow the money. Yep. So I'm gonna skip down just a little bit because it seems like we are behind here. We are Judah. How you doing? Says, when the cops are criminals, you better run. Yeah, like most of them. Moni, how you doing? Says, just stopping by to say hello. Won't be able to stay. I'm doing my resting mode as cold as hell and snowing. I hope you and Donovan have a wonderful Sunday evening and have a blessed day. I think you may. Yes, we will. Thank you so much. Donovan is in the DR. All right, let's see here. S.A. Smith, how you doing? It says, peace, everyone. We have to stop thinking anything different can happen if the victim acted like a saint. We are human, and the cops know how to act like it was a white person. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Well, he should have, would have, could have. Like, nah, I mean, it's easy to say that when you Monday morning quarterbacking. But if you were ever in that situation, I'm sure you probably would act the same way. And he was probably like, if I could just make it to my parents' house, because it doesn't sound like he was that far. Jamarcus, how you doing? And Eunice, you saying how you doing? By the way, says it made me mad, but more sad. I feel you. He says, where is the humanity? May Almighty God punish them to the fullest extent. They are tools for white supremacy. I totally agree with you. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad always says that. He says, we're so busy trying to get civil rights, and we don't even have human rights. We got to get human rights first, right? Let's see. Sharon says that one about the 20 feet is totally out of shape. I don't think he could handle Tyre one-on-one. Yeah, when they caught up to him, they were all winded, right? And Yvette says, as a mother, I wonder about the turmoil in the hearts of the mothers of these cops. Are their fathers wondering about the monsters they've raised? Good question. Only Pamela's Way says, Biden, Obama can go sit down. Neither one of them did anything for us. True. Eric, you say, be prepared to protect yourself and run into these thugs. They are beyond dangerous. I totally agree. It's scary, right? Jessica Jackson, how you doing? Says, hi, Demetri. This whole ordeal was just horrible. No other way to say it. I totally agree. Brother Reggie says, if old Jim Crow, Joe is outraged, where's the anti-black hate crime bill? Good question. Milk 35, sup? You say sup, what's going on with you? And Squid, how you doing? Says, these cops beat this guy with extreme prejudice. Is there a personal connection with Tyre and one of the cops? I hear rumors. Yeah, I heard those rumors too. Me personally, I don't want to repeat it because we don't know if any of that is true. But it also, let's say any of those rumors were true. Did he deserve that? Let's say that the worst rumors we heard, if any of those rumors were true, did he deserve that? You know what I mean? And let's see here who else came on. DS, how you doing? Says, I worked in a jail and law enforcement setting for years, and I tell you, it's still happening right now. Believe me. Oh, I totally believe you. Jay the Informant, how you doing? Jeremy has awakened. He says the only personal thing about the situation was self-hate and law enforcement promotions. Okay. And at Detroit HP TV, how you doing? He said Voices of Tom. Okay. Tawana says the fact they named that unit Scorpion after a deadly insect. You know what I'm saying? Angela, how you doing? He says, hello, I feel the video should not be shown. You know what? As weird as it is, the family wanted it to be shown. The mother has not seen it, and I don't blame her, but they wanted everybody to see it. It's kind of like an Emmett Till effect, where the mama wanted people to see what racism did to her child. So that's kind of where they were going with that. All right, y'all. Y'all want to come on here, click the link. And I would ask that, of course, you guys, be respectful. I know I don't have to say that to you. I just feel like I should, just say that. And, try to limit your commentary so that other people can come on. I love and appreciate you for that. All right, so let's see here. While I'm waiting on somebody to come on, I'm going to continue to read. And Bernard, he says 6'3" tall, 6 kicks, 6 punches. There was a lot more than that going on. Jay Bubba, how you doing? He says you're right about the tweet. They made it a movie premiere. Yep, that's what it's like. Everybody's like, gearing up to watch this. Is like, ooh, it's so morbid. It's like we're not watching a Disney movie or nothing like that. It's like a horror flick is what it was. And let's see here. Brother Reddy says, side note, hit the like button. Yes, please. And thank you. Squid says it would be worse it would be premeditated murder. I think they should get but they only charge them with second degree, and a lot of times they don't charge them with the max because you got to be able to really prove that. Now, what happens is if they charge them with capital one, and the I guess the preponderance of the evidence is higher. And so, what if the jury comes back and say, "Well, we can't really say that it was premeditated. There's no really evidence of that," and they walk. So, second degree has a lower standard to prove, murder. So, uh, let's see here. Kiki says, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but it's like I get that the foundation of it is white supremacy, but at what point do we stop completely blaming white supremacy, though? It's like we sisters are forced to take accountability. We don't get to, get to our faux pas, but put off on white supremacy. It's like a drug, guns, and everything in between for brothers keep being put on white supremacy and slavery as if black men aren't intellectually capable of knowing something is wrong. No, I totally agree with you. I hope that you guys aren't thinking I'm saying that they did it because of white supremacy. I think obviously they had free will and they did it because they wanted to, but I think that the structure that they work within and under is white supremacy. Y'all know that's not something that we were doing in the motherland. We weren't doing that kind of stuff to each other. So of course we come over here, and as Malcolm X asked us so many years ago, who taught you to hate yourself? Because that was you were like, you don't like yourself. It's easy to do that to somebody else. If we as black people loved ourselves more, it would be hard for us to do the things that we do to each other. So, of course, yeah, we know ultimately it was them, but there's a bigger picture there. I guess that's what I'm saying. Queen says they need to make police officers retest every 5 years, mentally, physically, and all. They are out of breath. I see a lot of fat cops, but not active service people. Yeah, which kind of make it easier for them to, squeeze, you know what I mean? Because they don't want to do the chase type of thing. Easy says, D, the media, in my humble opinion, is inflammatory and incendiary all day long, which is why I don't partake of it a lot. I don't watch TV. I watch some things, but I don't allow TV to be in my face all day long. I watch the news when I need to, and I have to stream that, so I don't have cable news type of thing. But yeah, absolutely. The media, I was actually reading the newspaper today, and most of the stories I saw was about us doing heinous things. El Boogie, I see you. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. Jessica says, if the rumors are true, it only proves why they came at Tyre with such force for a traffic stop. I mean, yeah, I can see that, but damn, you know what I mean? Eunice, she says he did not deserve to die regardless of what was going on. I've seen white men shooting at cops with not a scratch. They get taken to Burger King. You better tell it. And Angela, how you doing? Says it's basically a lynching. Yep, absolutely. We are Judy says she had to know what this unit's reputation was. There were multiple reports of abuse by them. Yeah, I'm sure she did, but again, I think she did. I think this police chief did an exceptional job in getting rid of them. I think she did. I would have more of a problem with her if she made excuses for them. That's where I think. But yeah, I'm sure she knew about it. But did she know that those 5 that were on the hook now and all the other ones were going to do that? She probably didn't. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. All right, so let's see here now. I won't be in the comment section as much because I'm going to be talking to Brother L Boogie. If y'all want to come on, please click the link. And let me see who else came on here. I want to acknowledge you. Shahur, how you doing? It says, what those pigs did was unforgettable. I totally agree with you. All right, brother. How you doing?
Great. How you doing, Miss Lady?
I'm well. What's going on with you?
Oh, it's a lot. I made a comment, a video on my own channel about this situation. This when I found out they were all black officers, I was just I was really shocked. And it's terrible because one thing black police officers had over their white counterparts is the fact that they weren't caught in this type of situation, brutalizing another black man this way. So it's really sad. But in addition to that, it seems like they're going to make these 5 officers the poster boys for everything that officers do wrong, and I don't know if that's, if that's fair, but they deserve whatever they get.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. As far as them being the poster boys, yeah, they're going to try to do that. And I want to say this too,
Yeah.
and I think this is kind of where I was going. I kind of lost my train of thought when I first started my monologue, and I just lost it again. Is that just really weird? That's called old age right there? Oh, I know what I was going to say. I forgot again. It's the weirdest thing. Oh, okay, for real, for real. What happened was they released those tapes, in my opinion, and because they were black, obviously,
Right.
and to take the attention away from, the call to disband the police and white people, white officers doing it to us. It's almost like, here, let's hurry up and do it so we can change the conversation, right? We can change the conversation, and now people can be in shock and awe that it was black officers, and now they won't have to say that it's just the white officers. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, I watched I saw part of the video, and it's sickening. It's sickening what they did to this young man, and it's I was just sitting there looking at it. I was like, I couldn't actually believe that 5 black men was doing this to another black man. I'm speechless about it. It's crazy.
And let's take it from this angle. We talking, since ain't nobody came up yet. And how you doing, Truth by Design says not surprised. Sunlight says there's definitely an agenda here. Yeah, I mean, one would think, right? So there's been a lot of conversation going on about, oh, well, black men do it to each other all the time. So are we really surprised? And it's like, what do you think about that statement that's been kind of going around?
That's like comparing apples to oranges. I mean, I hear it's just like someone saying, well, what about black on black crime? And whenever someone posed that question to me, I look like, I said, okay, well, ever since the FBI been keeping crime statistics, it's they were brutalizing us before. I would say they were brutalizing us before they started keeping up with black on black crime statistics. So it's like they're public servants. People in close proximity are gonna, have disagreements and kill each other. Hell, 80% of white people are killed by other white people. So they're kind of like, that's a bad faith argument, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and I totally agree. Sunlight, you're saying, who's saying that BS? Well, Dr. Boyce Watkins, he made a tweet, and I actually seen other people reposting it. Actually, Malcolm Jamal Warner posted it, and he was like, facts. And people was like kind of eating his lunch like, this is really a distraction, because all black men or black men, per se, did not do that to Tyre. Those 4 black officers, they did that because the other question is, I don't know, maybe they would have, but what those demons, if you will, have done that to them if they weren't police officers? So that they do it because they had this false sense of power that we have the upper hand on him, and so we're going to do this to him. But to try to merge black men as a conversation,
no,
I think it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's not only wrong; it's ludicrous. I mean, it's not. It's like I say, it's like comparing apples to oranges. When it comes to the profession, I made this statement on on the video, on the short video I made. It's an honorable profession, in my opinion. I actually worked in law enforcement for a short period of time because of the things that go on. And my moral compass, the way my moral compass is set up, I really couldn't have a career in law enforcement. But that being said, what I mean to say is they aren't going to cover black officers the way they cover white officers. They have a false sense of security in that they think that just because they're in that blue uniform that they're actually covered. They're all blue, but and can escape the fact that they're in black skin, and that's not possible. Because no matter what profession we work in, we're black first, and that's including law enforcement. So I just, I don't see that.
And then the other thing too is, in Charles, how you doing? I would say I'm from Memphis. They beat me up before. It was a common thing to get beat by police in Memphis in the 90s and early 2000s. And yes, there are some statistics. I think it came out from the census, or maybe it was the CDC is one of them, that said that Black people in Memphis make up, I think, about 68%, or 56, 60 something percent. I don't know. And the officers are 58%. So Black of the police force there in Memphis, 58% of them are Black. And 86% of the police brutality cases are Black people.
I don't doubt it.
Right. So they're not really beating up or messing with or brutalizing other people as much as they're doing Black people there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like,
but the Asians get the anti-Asian hate crime bill. They get that, and we don't. It's clearly, the numbers tilt towards Blacks being mostly brutalized and suffering from hate crime in this country. But the party that we voted in, or those of us that voted, the Democrat Party that had the House and the Senate, they couldn't rectify that. They give them they support an anti-hate crime bill for the Asians, but not for Black people.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna bring Just Talking Ish up here. You want to stay on L Boogie?
Sure.
Okay. And y'all please follow L Boogie Speaks to Show on his YouTube channel. He is building and he's very insightful. Got a lot of good things to say. So please follow him. So Just Talking Ish, I'm gonna bring you up. What's going on with you?
Hey, how you doing today, sister?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Another day. Another day.
What's on your mind?
I mean, once again, it's the first month of 2023, and we already got a high-profile, unarmed black man being unalive. So, happy 2023. It's not going to be the first one this year, sadly. Not going to be the last one, So, with that being said, the thing that's really angering me, and I hate to say this because I don't want to sound like one of them people, but it's our own people that's making me mad, because they're playing into the mainstream narrative about the whole, well, it was a Black officer, and does racism, what does this have to do with race and all that? And then on top of that, I'm hearing my own people talking about that unarmed Black man was unalived by five armed Black men that were officers, and we're blaming it on Black women.
Oh yeah. That was Jason Whitlock. He, I guess, went on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. And DeAndre, how you doing, by the way? He went on Fox News with Tucker Carlson, and it kind of concluded his segment with single Black moms are running the cities, and I was like, wow, this is very unfortunate that we have such a schism of what could have happened. We're gonna blame this person, blame that person. It's like, no, we really need to get down to the bottom of this, because the people that actually have the power to change any of this, they're not doing it. And that's who? That's the Democrats that we send to office. As Black people, let's keep it real. We do, whether we voted for them or not. Predominantly Black people vote for them on a hope and a prayer that they're gonna do something for us. And then when they get in there, they sit on their hands and they make excuses, right? But as Al Boogie said, the Asians, they got an anti-hate crime bill. Can you imagine if they did that to an Asian? It'd have been over with.
It wouldn't happen to no other race.
You ain't lying.
I'm willing to say that. You can always talk about, I hate when other people be like, oh, well, people of color, we dealing with the same thing and stuff. No, you're not. Not to the level that we're dealing with it. So with that being said, if it was a white boy that was in that car in Tyre's shoes, if it was an Asian, they possess the ability to look at any other race and see a kid. But then when they look at Black people, they see kids and they be like, oh, well, he's a thug, or he's this, he's that, or she's not really that age. She just, she doesn't look like she's 10 or 12. So let's be real. This is nothing new. What I want our people to do is stop believing in a system that's not built for us.
There you go. You ain't lying. And
Let it go.
And I'm glad you said that because I be wanting to talk about this book all the time. I'm reading this. I'm almost done with it. The Fall of America by Elijah Muhammad. And he says that. Calls America Babylon. He's like, this system ain't for us. Why are we even trying to partake or be a part of this, right? And that's, you know, per my understanding of this book, those police officers fell for that. They thought they were part of the, you know, good old American blue, you know, shield and all of that. And they were wrong. But Elijah Muhammad asked us to separate. He says, we know nothing in America was made for the benefit of Black people, but yet, you know, especially back then, they were marching for civil rights, to live next door to white people, to eat with white people, and all that other stuff. But as he said, you Black people don't have human rights. Well, you shouldn't even be talking about civil rights yet, right?
Honestly, and then on top of that, to piggy off what you're saying about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, with that right there, a lot of people don't know that he was working on doing that. He was working with an openly racist white person from the KKK to start an all Black town in North Carolina.
Absolutely. So, and you know, the Nation of Islam, they, you know, still are building and have things and things like that. So they have definitely followed the blueprint of the messenger. But anything else you got to say before I go ahead and give it over to Brother DeAndre?
Oh no, I'm just giving my piece and everything. If it's all right, I like to piggyback off because I see there's some older gentlemen up here, and I think this is what we need. We need generations to really like connect that bridge instead of having this whole, well, our generation was doing this, because just like everybody can point to our generation what we did, we can point back to what the previous generation did and the mishaps and the mistakes and so on. So we just got to connect together as a people.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, we're all at fault. If there's any fault, blame to be assigned, it's all of us, right? There's nobody who is more capable or culpable than the next, right? So, DeAndre, what's going on with you?
I just wanted to add on that when you look into the background of the chief of police,
hold on a second. I think you got something in the background there. Somebody talking? Okay, go ahead.
What happened was they released those tapes, in my opinion, and because they were black,
or is that just me?
Right.
To take the attention away from.
Do you have something else on in the background?
The police and white people, white officers doing it to us. It's almost like, here, let's hurry up and do it so we can change the conversation, right? We change the conversation. Now people can be in shock and awe that it was black officers.
I'm gonna mute you until you figure out because we hear I guess me, so I don't know, something else is playing in the background, Brother DeAndre. But I'm gonna mute you until you hold on a second.
It's sickening. It's sickening what they do.
It's a lot of other people talking.
I was just sitting there looking at it. I was like, I couldn't actually believe that.
I don't think that's me. I think that's you, because when I mute you, I don't hear it. See, I don't hear it. That I muted you. Hold on one second. Yeah, that's on your end. It's almost like another. Do you have another page open on your computer? That sounds like what it is, like another page or something. All right, so let's see here. And anybody else want to come on? Please do. And I'm just looking at the comments. So hello to everybody that came on. Asha, Dr. Chris, how you doing? David. So
what about now?
Oh yes, perfect.
Okay, what I was saying was I looked into the background of the chief. And when you looked in the background of the chief, she rushed to throw them under the bus because she had a similar incident with the Red Dog unit in Atlanta when they kicked the door in and an older sister died. And then she botched another case. And when you look at it, they knew they were being recorded, but they didn't feel that anything was going to be done about what they did. Just so happened he died. You know, if you pay attention, until he died, we weren't going to hear anything about it. And then after he died, they waited to release the video because they couldn't cover it up anymore. So what you seeing her do with the rush to act as if she's being swift with correcting her own, she trained them in the same manner as which the Red Dog Squad operated in Atlanta, Georgia. She was fired in Georgia because of her behavior. And, you know, those young guys looked at her as an auntie or a second mom at that job, and she put them together to do her bidding and sending them into those areas where all that, stuff was going on since the killing of young Dolph in Memphis, Orange Mound, Memphis. It's been a lot going on in Memphis. And if you just look at things on the surface, it looks as if the young brothers was just rogue cops, but they weren't just rogue cops. They were people that she had handpicked and put in that unit to be her guard dogs and handle that situation in Memphis and in Orange Mound, Memphis. My family's from Memphis, and we got to not look at it so much as on the surface. Of course, we know it's totally backed by white supremacy, and there are extensions of white supremacy. But white supremacy has gotten slick because they put a new face on it, so you can't say it's them anymore. Now you see Fox News and everybody coming out saying, "Oh, we're ashamed." Oh, but what they're really saying is, "See, you niggas ain't no better than us." That's what they really doing, because they put her in a position, gave her the leeway after they knew she was notorious for heading those type of street units. And that's why when you seen them, they in their minds, they never thought that they was going to be called to the carpet for what they did. You know what I mean? You see them trying to make up lies, and and they're young. You could tell they was making up lies like a kid. Like if you a parent, your kids will make up the stupidest lies that you can think of. You be looking at them like, I know you're smarter than I raised you better than that. If you're gonna lie, you could have came up with something better. They went to talking about he reached for the gun. He went for my gun. He had my gun, and he socked me. And then, like, y'all don't know that the footage is there, that we're looking at the footage, that soon as he stopped his car, before he could even ask you a question, you was already pulling him out with the hostility. You see what I'm saying? So of course, we can't get too emotional about what we're seeing. We got to think about this logically. Why would her history, why would they make her the chief? And why would they let her run a unit like that with what's been going on with Memphis since the killing of young Dolph? Memphis been off the chain for the last 1.5 years. So now they throw something else in the pot. You know what I mean? And it's just sad. It's sad all the way around, because they're going to make an example out of them brothers. They're going to make an example out of them because that looks good for them. That looks good for the Democrats next year. Oh, we're on police brutality. Oh, we stopping this. And the Democrats going, appeal to the mothers and appeal to, the pandering again. And they're going to use this situation to capitalize, and nothing's going to change.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a way to, you hear Joe Biden, Obama, and all them, they saying something. So it's a way to, get us, sentimental. Oh, they said something. They didn't have to say nothing, But it's like, we don't care about what you're saying. You got the mighty pen. What are you going to do about it? Nothing, because they know we like symbolism.
But see, it's just, it goes again back to what Obama did. Obama did absolutely nothing for black people. He told people that, he said, I'm not going to be a black president. I'm going to be the president of the United States. And anybody who knows anything about the United States has an agenda, and their agenda is white supremacy. So if I say that I'm representing the United States and I'm working for the United States government and their policies, what I'm saying is I'm an extension of white supremacy, no matter what I say to my constituency. You know what I mean? Oh, I look like you, but he never really even said anything to us. When he bailed the banks out, and you know what I mean? We just got so wrapped up in colorism. You know what I mean? He don't even identify with us. He, his daddy is from Kenya. His mother is a white lady from Kansas. He grew up in Hawaii and Indonesia. He doesn't even identify with the racism and the oppression that we've been through and how systemic it is. Because when you're dealing with a system and you within the system, you got to make a stand. I think Trump was more bolder and better for black people in office than Obama. And I know people are not going to agree. They're going to say something about it. Like I'm not a Republican. I'm a realist. I'd rather know the devil I'm dealing with than to have somebody on my side that's a snake. And now they're coming out now because they're going to use this. They're going to use this. They're going to politicize it. They're going to make an example out of them brothers. And that's not going to be a problem to them, because it's not like they're making an example out of their own. they're punishing some more Negroes. You know what I mean? And they're gonna put more Negroes in line. They're gonna make the police officers even more beholden to them. The police officers on the force now are going to be more docile, and they can't wait. And what they're gonna do? They're gonna put white officers in those cars with them, who's gonna be like they on deck supervisors, and they still gonna be, extensions of white supremacy. Because I think like this, and this may be a radical idea. I don't think no black man should ever become a police officer or join the military. Let them have that. Let the enemy have what he has, and we'll do like we did all the time and have our own. That way it won't be this. That way we won't have to feel like because he's black, we should give him a pass. Let him have it. Let him have a police force. Let them have those type of governmental jobs, and we build something for ourselves.
Absolutely. So now I want to ask this, and let's see here. I forgot the name already. Let me see. And how you doing, CG? How you doing? Very sensitive issues for Black people globally. Is that you, Michael? Is that you, Michael?
Hi.
Yes, it's Michael. How you doing? But let me get hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Let me I want to kind of ask the brothers up here, L Boogie and Just Talking Ish. What do y'all think about what Brother DeAndre said about no black men should join the police force? What are y'all opinions on that?
Well, I totally agree. I got a personal experience with that because I used to work in security, and I'm not just talking about just sitting down at a desk and checking people in. Like I had to go and take a test to go get my blue card so I could be able to use my firearm at work. We were fugitive, a part of a fugitive recovery team. We worked in 10 states throughout the whole country. Well, we had authorization to work in 10 states in this country. So I know what it's like to work with them. And that's why I had to step away from the industry, because I'm the type of person that whatever I do, I put my best foot forward. And I was getting recruited by different police departments in Atlanta. I was like I said, I worked with Homeland Security when they had to like come to our property and stuff. So we had to coordinate with them and stuff, let them know our security detail and stuff. And when I got recruited, a part of me was going to do it just for the money, because they said that, hey, if you come in, you do a little bit of overtime, the first year you can clear 100,000. So with that being said, I looked at myself, looked in the mirror, and I looked at my family, and I realized that I would have been the first officer in my family in a generation, about 4 or 5 generations in our family. And I couldn't do it. I had to decline the offer. I had to let them know I can't do it. I just went away from the security thing altogether, because I felt like every time that I was checking somebody on our property, or if I was working with the police officer or Homeland Security, it never failed that it was a black person involved. And that could have been my brother. That could have been my uncle. Like, it could have been people that were put in a situation. And I'm not saying 100% that every black person that's in the system is innocent, but I do believe that it's a large number of those people that have been victim of white supremacy. So with that being said, I was raised by my father and my mother, and my father was in the military, and he told me himself, the black man has no place in the army, in the military at all. They send us to the front lines. We're the first one to get gone. We don't get the same uh benefits or the same perks as the white people. You can go look at the GI Bill and all that stuff. So I'm 1000% agreeing with DeAndre. And also, like, when you become an officer and you black, you're not black no more. You blue. When you got that uniform on, you blue. So I agree.
And can I say, let me see.
Let me say something. I'm very sensitive, which is also Michael. I'm gonna bring you back for another discussion. I want to have a conversation with the brothers today, if you don't mind. But I thank you so much for being in the comment section and your commentary when you do come on. But I just kind of want to let them say what they need to say today, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
All right. So, all right. What was you gonna say, Brother DeAndre, and then L Boogie?
I wanted to say that when they took Thurgood Marshall out of the private sector, that wasn't to elevate Thurgood Marshall. That was to take him out of the civil rights movement. Did you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
They made it look as if that was some type of benefit that was going to benefit the black race or the black community. But what it was neutralizing Thurgood Marshall's ability to litigate in behalf of the millions of black people, because once he became a judge, he could no longer litigate. He could no longer argue law. You know what I mean? And that was the main reason. They didn't like Thurgood Marshall. They just knew that he was the Johnny Cochran of his era. So, and white people will put you in a position if they feel that you are a worse adversary, they'll make you a partner. You know what I mean? That's if you can't beat them, join them.
Oh yeah, I forget what movie that was in, but it was a group of white people in the movie that came out like in the 70s and 80s, and they was talking about the same thing. If you see one in the hood that shows that they're smart and they're charismatic and they're got the ability to lead, we need them on our team, because if we don't have them on our side, then they could be an issue. So I forget what movie that was in. It was like
it'd be a threat.
That's the name of the movie?
No, I'm saying they neutralize threats. You know what I mean? People have a tendency to think that white people think like how we think. You know what I mean? But they think from an adversarial position. Like they think from superiority while we striving for equality.
Yep.
We want equality, they want superiority, which puts us at a disadvantage every time. So when they see the best of us, they take the best of us and they recruit the best of us. If you look at them young brothers that got caught up in this case, they could have been anything other than what they were when they caught this case. Now they're wasted. They food for fodder.
Absolutely. So, L Boogie, what say you? What's your take on no brother should join the police force? Hold on, I'm gonna unmute you. How you doing, brother Reggie? I'm gonna unmute you, L Boogie. Let me see here. There you go. Wait, oops. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me? You hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. I just mute my mic so it doesn't give feedback, but yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a United States Army veteran first and foremost. I served in the Army. I worked in law enforcement as a corrections officer for 1 year. I think there's a place for black men in the military and in law enforcement. It's just that I think black people in general, but in this case specifically, black people that serve in the military and in law enforcement have to know who they are. If you know who you are, then you act accordingly. You know, it can't be a thing whereas we let all white people police our communities and with no black faces. We see where that goes. So I feel like there is a place for black police officers that know who they are and that realize that, even though they're in a blue uniform, that they are black men and they are black women. Now, as for the military, black people in general have a history, a star-studded history when it comes to serving in the military and fighting for this country, even when this country didn't fight for us. Hell, Crispus Attucks was the first to fall in the Revolutionary War, and then we had countless of other heroes that served in America's armed forces. So there's a place for us in the military and in law enforcement. It's just that we need to know who we are as a people. And in the case of these 5 officers, they didn't know. They thought they had a pass, or they thought they had arrived. So when the white officers started everything, they just joined in, figured that they would take care of it because, they wouldn't receive any consequences or repercussions. But now they are being shown who they are, because they were very quick to reveal their identities, and they were very quick to indict them for what they did. So we as black people, we have to know who we are as being black people and know what we can get away with and what we can't. If once you know that, then I think that's half the battle right there. You know, that's just my take on it.
Hey, brother L Boogie, let me ask you this question real quick. Because you said you went back in time, you talked about Crispus Attucks, and you talked about how like it was black people in the army that defended this country. Why don't they teach us that in the education about the great black people that was in the army that served? Why they don't tell us about the greatest officers and the greatest military minds that were black to serve? Because it. Go ahead.
Right. They don't do that because they want history whitewashed, which it is. It is whitewashed. But we as black people living in the information age, we can find out anything. And if we want our kids to know about our heroes, we can teach them. We just look it up. You know, we walk around with computers on our hip. There's nothing under the sun about black people, our accomplishments, what we've accomplished and what we didn't is known that you can't teach your own kids at home. You know, so, but they don't teach it because they don't want America at large, especially their white children. That's why they try to come up with this thing about not teaching black history in school. Not talking about the Florida case because the Florida case has couple more moving parts to that. But in general, they don't want black history taught in schools. Call it critical race theory or whatever, because they don't want white children to know that about their deeds. You know, about about their ancestors oppressing our ancestors. But when it comes to us knowing our history, I think that's our responsibility.
And I agree with you. That's our responsibility to teach our kids the true history and educate them. I agree with that. But when you talk about like the police force, and we got to remember where the origins of the police force started. Yeah. It didn't start for, protecting and serving the community. It was started to, catch runaway slaves. So nowhere in the history of the police, they ever changed their ideology. All they did was evolve and rebranded it.
Could I say something?
Sure. And then we're going to let Brother Don say what he got to say. Go ahead. Absolutely, DeAndre.
When we talk about history, I used to live in Boston. And in Boston Commons, they have a big size penny, like a copper piece with Crispus Attucks' name on it. But what they don't tell you in history is that the British was under orders not to fire on the settlers in Boston. Crispus Attucks was shot as a warning shot to the white people that was raising up against the soldiers. And at the same time, in 1776, all of Crispus Attucks' people were enslaved in shackles. And I'm saying, why do black men feel like they need to fight abroad when they being lynched at home? They came back from World War I and they lynched whole platoons. Mm-hmm. So when you say that we have a place in their military when they lynch whole platoons of black men who had just came and fought for their country, it doesn't make sense. And just like the brother just said, we joining up with the patty rollers, you know what I mean? And we're still being patty rollers. Let white people have their institutions and we build our own.
Facts.
The point I was trying to make about being in the military and then on the police force is, if we don't have black officers that police our communities, then it'll be left up to them. And I don't think that's a good thing.
I do, because I think we can clearly define the enemy when ain't nobody on the other side looking like us. Right. When ain't nobody on the other side looking like us, we can clearly define who on our side.
And before they let us on the force, we were protecting our own community.
Sure,
they don't talk about that.
Yeah.
They don't talk about the original origins of the Crips or anything like that. But what
the Black Panthers
and the Black Panthers, exactly. If we look at how they disband and disassembled the Crips and the Black Panthers, they basically did the same thing that they do to our people now. They give us drugs, they give us false stories, false narratives, and they create a split between our people.
They give us the illusion of inclusion.
Exactly.
Right, integration.
And that's why Dr. King said that dream I had, y'all, I think it might have been a nightmare. Go get your money.
Yeah, he said he was he had a fear that he was integrating his people into a burning house. So, I understand all that, but I just don't think that they should be left to their own devices. And if
they are left to, but they are left to their own devices. The illusion of inclusion, you seeing it play out before your very eyes. Them
right.
brothers as guard dogs for Memphis, and then
Right.
when
But
the brother died, they threw him under the bus.
right.
Let me
Yeah.
go ahead.
Right. That's yeah. I covered it. I covered this very thing on my channel. I made a video, but I feel like I'm gonna make a statement about the officers. There had to be someone out there that could have had a clear head. It could have been. It didn't have to go that far. Someone could have just stood up and said, "Look, this is wrong," and take responsibility from de-escalate the situation. But that didn't happen. But that comes along with you not know. They don't know who they are as black men. If you're a black man and you know who you are, you know you don't. That's something that you don't participate in a group or alone. So even though you have black people in all places in society, all black people don't know who they are. Once you know who you are, you don't participate.
This is my last question.
Okay, well, let me interject just real quick. I want to recognize Sister Lisa Cabrera. Thank you so much for that donation. I love and appreciate you for that. And it's always an honor when you pop in. Of course, if you all are not following Sister Lisa, please go to her YouTube channel. She drops a lot of knowledge. Please do that. Also, I want to give Brother Don and let me see, the name was Digital Boy Filmworks a chance to speak, and then y'all can ask all the questions you want. Y'all, I'm just sitting up here listening. You know, I'm just listening. But
okay, this is my one last
okay,
question.
Go ahead.
Bro, what is the purpose of boot camp? When you went to the military, what was the purpose of boot camp?
Program.
Well, I want the soldier to tell me what was the purpose.
Right. In boot camp, what they did was, what they want to do, they want to form and shape young men's mind. I was 28 years old when I went to boot camp, and I had friends, and so my disposition was a little different. But they tried to break you down and build you back up to what they wanted you to be.
You said form and shape, but that's not what they do. It's not form and shape. It's program.
Yeah.
They want
form and shape program. Yeah.
To the point to where, did you ever see the movie Glory? What they did to that troop of black soldiers? They programmed them and made them want to fight so bad that they put them on the front line so no white soldiers had to die.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they sent,
who would join
that? They sent them in the battle without ammunition. So because they were scared. Yeah, they sent them in the battle without ammunition on a lot of occasions. So the history is the history, but I feel like
what happens if you don't?
If black men know we have to know who we are. Like I worked in law enforcement as well as being in the military, and there's certain things I would not participate in. I wouldn't back the officer up if they were wrong. I said, man, this is wrong. I'm not filling out a statement or anything to that sort to back you up when you're wrong. So we have to. Every man has integrity. If you have integrity, then you just don't have to go along with anything just because you feel like you have to fit in or whatever.
Let me call a timeout. So I want to make sure everybody gets the chance to speak. Brother Reggie left and came back.
Peace.
Go ahead, Brother Reggie. I'm gonna let you go, and then Don, because you were on first, Don, and then Digital Boy Filmworks. So let's try to remember to give everybody a chance to be able to speak. But okay, go ahead, Brother Reggie. What say you?
Hey, salute to all the brothers on the panel. This is a great conversation. I'm with Brother DeAndre. I don't think that we should be a part of the military. They can fight their own wars. And in terms of cops, the 2 times that I was assaulted by cops, they were both black. One female, one male. My uncle's ex-wife, first wife, she was a cop. She used to beat on him. Now, I know not all cops are bad, but it seems like some people that become cops, something changes. Once they get that power, they get that gun, they get their badge, and they lose their damn mind. So I'm with the other brothers on the panel. I mean, no disrespect to you, the brother who's that was in law enforcement, but it's just my feelings on the matter. And rest in peace to the brother that got murdered by them devils, man. It's just sad.
Absolutely. Now we're gonna let Brother Don speak. And Brother Don, if I'm not mistaken, you used to be law enforcement, wasn't you? Can you hear me?
That's right. I used to run a department, and I don't even recall one incident. There was one incident where we pulled our guns, and that was it. That was it. And everyone was treated as a human being, but I especially looked out for my community. I especially looked out for my community. Tell them to get some sense about themselves and go on about their way. And that's just how I handle things. But today, this is what we see. This is what we see today. We get to see it, and that's very impactful. Now, in terms of police academy and police training, it's the same thing as boot camp. It's indoctrination. It's indoctrination, and then you have the subtle indoctrination in your training in these larger departments, where you might have to be doing range qualifications or what have you. And all the images that you shoot are black. Think about that. And then when you have to make a decision to not shoot, it's usually the figure is usually white. So there's a lot going on a subconscious psychological level. We know how the statistics are skewed. We know that law enforcement is overrepresented in communities where there are black people, where predominantly black people. And so there is a constant exposure to negativity as it relates to black people. Psychologically, subconsciously, this wears on everyone that has to deal with it. That's when people that are weak-minded and who have been indoctrinated start giving their own people the side eye. And they will be complicit with the activities of other officers, depending on how dangerous that gang is. They'll set you up. So there's a lot of moving parts going on. Now, had I known better, and my opportunity that I was reaching for it, if that had come through, I don't think I ever would have been a cop. Never would have been a cop. But my uncle gave me advice, and he was a cop for a hot minute. But one of the reasons, this was in the 60s. One of the reasons that he did it was for that badge. To protect himself against them folks in LA. When I say them folks, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, no. Not that gang of folks.
Oh.
The gang of folks that get a county check.
Oh.
The gang of folks that get a county and city paycheck. Them folks. So
yeah.
So it's a different time. It really is kind of a different time in our world. And the thing that you're going to see more and more things happen to black people because of the dispensation of the era that we live in. Folks can agree with me or disagree with me, but this thing is wrapping up. And our folks have been coming to understand history that was stripped away from us, and starting to understand languages that we used to spoke that was stripped away from us. And these folks know, and they know that at this time, when we wake up, it's over for them. So they've been trying to get rid of us for a long time, just because of who we are. We are a special people. That's why we're still around.
Absolutely. So let me get to Digital Boy Film Works. You've been very patient. What say you?
What's up, everybody? I see you doing your thing. I've been following you for a long time. You're making it happen. Listen, man, I'm gonna get right to the point. I ain't gonna pull no punches. I'm gonna piggyback off what this brother just said, the last brother. We are a special people, and that's why we still here. And because of who we are, that's why they're doing what they're doing, and they're not gonna stop. And my other point is, um, I feel bad for the brother that lost his life to these animals because they're not really a part of us. They have nothing to do with us. They're a part of the problem, a part of the system. Just like the slave catchers was coming to get us, and it was brothers that was catching us with guns in their hand, dragging us on the slave ships for the man. So ain't nothing new under the sun. They still doing what they did over 400 years ago. Um, Basically, the police killed my cousin uh, on the 4th of July in front of his house, shot him down like a dog. He worked, and he was a major in the United States Army. He was a major, a black major in the United States Army. Not that that means anything, and he also was working for the Pentagon. Crickets from the Pentagon. Um, so this ain't nothing new. They're gonna do it again. They killed this brother, uh, Tyre Nichols. It's gonna be another one, and they're gonna keep doing it. And to my last thing, I'm not gonna stay on long. As long as the White House is standing, we're gonna still have the same problem over and over again because that White House is a symbol of white supremacy. That's why they call it the freaking White House. And the Confederate flag and the American flag, there's no difference between the two. And I'm gonna rest my case with that.
You said a mouthful there, brother, and thank you so much. And I've been following you. What's going on with you? I know you producing films and all of that. What, you got anything in the works now?
Yeah, we working on a documentary for my cousin. How they killed him and the whole shebang. It needs to come out the light. I spoke to Attorney Crump for a moment, but no disrespect, but these guys only take high profile cases.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping it real. I listen to these guys. I take them with a grain of salt, man. It's just everybody's in it for the money. It's not about the movement anymore. It's about how loud you can talk, and this and that. They're not gonna let you get on television, man, if you're saying anything. So I'm gonna say something in my films, whether they like it or not. And I'm gonna talk about those other people that ain't the people, and I'm gonna talk about the other stuff that they don't want to hear about. I'm gonna wrinkle some feathers up. You know what I mean? I'm going for it. I'm not afraid. That's where I'm at right now.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And I will say, as far as Ben Crump, I'm trying to help a brother in prison. He was, and I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit, but let's say SA'd, if you will, by correctional officers in there with an object to the point of him needing a colostrophe bag and all of that. And up until recently, I was in talks with Ben Crump's office. And they finally said, well, they decided not to take the case. And I'm like, well, and we got like evidence and all kind of stuff, but it's not nationally known. So they don't want to touch it. So I totally, from a firsthand experience, know what you're talking about as far as if it ain't sensational, then it's like, well, we're going to pass on it.
Well,
These
to
guys,
piggyback off
these
of both
guys
of
are
that,
first class ambulance
I've met
chasers.
Ben Crump before, and he actually took on. I was dating this young lady, and her brother was gunned down by the police, and he actually took on the case. He met with us one time in person. Ironically, it was cameras right there before we was about to go on camera. He was all buddy family. I'm gonna fight for him like he's my own. All that good talk. And then when the case started going away, he dropped it. Mama couldn't get on the phone with him. The only time she spoke to him was that one time before the cameras. After that, officers stopped taking calls. They got notified that he's no longer going to be a part of the case anymore. And the same thing happened with the NAACP, and it was another group that was a part of the case too. And all of them, like one by one, was dropping off when the publicity went away from the case, when it wasn't starting to go their way because the victim had a pass and he was on parole, wasn't supposed to be out the state. He was out the state when it happened and stuff. So it was a lot of things that went down, and I personally met this man and seen how he moved. And I'm gonna tell you like this, y'all best bet is to find somebody young who ain't been touched and corrupt by the system yet, who really got a heart, because some of these people go into it with a heart that I want to make a change, and they feel like they can go inside the system and make a change from within. So your best bet is to get somebody, and they out here. These young kids, it's not all of them out here wilding on the internet. It's kids out here doing amazing stuff in school right now in their system, and we need to get a hold of them before they get a hold of them. And that's your best bet to do it, because they'll be young, they'll be relentless, they'll really be fighting to prove they own. You know how you were when you were younger. So you have to take that attitude and with that person and go with that type of individual. Because if you're going with somebody that got a name in the game, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get it's not big enough for me. So that would be my advice to it, coming from personal experiences with these people that I see. Like, honestly, every time that I see one of our own get gunned down or something happen to him, when I see Ben Crump come up there, I get deterred. And it's sad to say, I get deterred because I personally worked with you, I spoke with you, I met with you, and I know your worth ethic, and I can personally speak on that. And it's like, if we on hold, we just can't just hold the police accountable. We got to hold everybody accountable. Because if you're going to be talking about you're going to be doing something for our community, like progressing our fight, we holding you to a higher standard. We can't be all, well, they sound good on the mic, or they're able to get some people together and stuff. Nah, man, we got to keep it 100. Call a spade a spade.
So people like Benjamin Banana Boat Crump, it ain't nothing but showtime. And out here we got John the Rug wearing Burrs. These guys, and I've met with John on some on some matters. And yeah, if it's not national news, high level, gonna be around for a while type case, they have no interest. See, Benjamin, he was getting his weight up probably when he was working on you guys' case. He was just getting his weight up. But see, now he got his weight up, man. If it ain't 16 mics in his face, it ain't gonna happen. And he knows from past experience what the payday may look like, because he ain't nothing but a glorified ambulance chaser. They all are. Don't tell me that you're a civil rights attorney, because you're not fighting for civil rights. You're fighting for a check. That's it, and that's all.
Absolutely, brothers. I got a question for y'all.
Agreed.
Let's see if we can answer this one. We got somebody in the chat, Brother Easy. And so quickly, I want to see if I'm gonna go around. So L Boogie, and then we'll go all the way around. See if y'all could answer this. So he says, D, with all of these police killings, why in some cases haven't we learned how to move and not put self in harm's way and be tactical in our movement and surroundings? So L Boogie, what say you in 30 seconds, and then we'll take it around if y'all can in 30 seconds. Let me unmute you.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't think it. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's possible for us to move a certain way not to be victimized, and I don't think we should, because that's not a norm. That's not a way to live as a human being, having to constantly look over your shoulder and worry about being attacked by anyone. Just in this case, a police officer. So to me, that's not a way to live, and that's an impossibility. That's not possible.
All right, just talking ish. What's your answer to that? Do I need to repeat the question?
Oh no, I got it.
Okay.
That sounds a little bit like a right way to comply. And if we're gonna keep it 100, that ain't the way. That ain't the idea to have. Let's keep it 100. We know the right thing and how to handle ourselves against danger. We know that. But if you do it by knowing your rights, they retaliate the way they do. If you do it by bearing arms, they're definitely retaliating the way they do. So whether you try to play it their way, you're not going to win. So again, there's no way if we're dealing with their system. If it ain't talking about tearing the system down, flipping it on top of his head, exposing the bad about it, and then doing something different about it with creating something new, it ain't nothing we can do but just stay whoever your religion is, stay prayed up, stay blessed, and stay on keep your head on the swivel. That's all you can do.
All right. So, Digital Boy Film Works, what say you?
Well, that's a tough one. It's kind of hard to navigate in Babylon. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I just say comply. But like the brother said, you comply and you still might wind up dead. You know, so it's like a catch-22. It all depends on the officer that you get that day. And listen, they out for blood, man. At the majority of them. So just try to comply and try to get home. That's all I could say. Because it could be anything these days, anything, and anywhere, any place, at any given time.
Absolutely. Brother Don, what say you?
Well, in terms of moving, try as much as it depends on you to move lawfully. Make sure your equipment is working on your vehicles, that your registration is up to date. You don't have anything that would draw attention to you, and just that's the safest way, because we know most of these incidents happen as a result of a traffic stop. So if you can eliminate those things, you're going to lessen your chance to have an encounter with these devils. Another thing for me is I try not to go out after dark. I try to do everything that I need to do while the sun is out and be at home at dark, because a lot of these guys like to work the swing in the midnight shift, because that's when a lot of dirt is done. I know we've seen some daylight activity, but for the most part, it's usually at dark. So it's just a matter of looking at, in terms of how you move, is looking at how can I lessen the possibility of me ending up on the other side of these jokers, because we know that they hate us. We have a condition that's incurable to them. It's called melanin. And since they don't have it, they think it's a disease that they need to eradicate. And so that's about it. I mean, that's how you move in Babylon, as the young man said.
Absolutely. All right, DeAndre, what say you?
Okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick because I'm listening to the brothers, and I'm hearing brothers talk about being safe, how to avoid the enemy, and you know what I mean, we the chosen people. But I'm gonna say this. Are y'all familiar with the Second Amendment? Because the Second Amendment is what Malcolm X was talking about, and the Black Panthers. The Second Amendment, I just Googled it for you. The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution allows the people to have a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the state, the right of people to bear arms. So if we're American citizens and we're talking about we need to be safe, but we refuse to bear arms and form militias to protect ourselves, that sounds like cowardice. And this country wasn't built on cowardice. Who thought that 13 colonies could defeat the British Empire? But they did. They got you fooled into thinking that your compliance will lead to you being safe, but you could be a safe slave. You want to be a safe slave? The slaves were safe as long as they didn't want freedom. And we're gonna be safe as long as we don't want freedom. You know what I mean? As men, we can't talk about how we move. We can't go out at night and we can't do this, because if we are that weak, then what the women and children gonna do? They victims. And then you see black women, they talking about how they're not protected and how they disrespected because the men are scared. When the men stop being scared, everybody will be protected in the community. There is no easy way out of oppression. There is no easy way out of white supremacy. There is no easy way out. There is no compliance that will save us as a people. And we should see that by now. That's what I got to say.
All right. Now, Brother Reggie, what say you?
Man, it's kind of hard to follow Brother DeAndre. He said a word. But I don't think but to the person in the chat, I don't think it really matters I forget who said it. It just depends on the cop's mood that day. Because I was on my way home. It was daytime. You know, I'm driving and cop stopped me, sister. I was polite to her and she slapped me and she let me go. But still, I didn't deserve that. And I was sitting up straight, hands at 10 and 2, you know. But I don't think it really matters. And who was the and just to end, the brother that who was the brother that got killed? He told the officer there was a gun in the car.
Philando
Castile, right? I think he did everything right. They still murdered that brother on film.
Cause you talking about their system, bro. I'm gonna be 100, man. I'm gonna be 100. I'm numb to this, and I'm gonna be honest. Don't talk to me about no protesting. Don't talk to me about no voting. Don't talk to me about none of that. If you ain't talking about breaking down this system, because I'm gonna tell you, some of the people that y'all might turn y'all nose up to, if you guide them, they'll be the ones that's willing to lay it down. They willing to laying it down for nothing already. So if you ain't talking about what it is, we at war. Man, I ain't trying to hear doing it through their system, bro. I'm not. Because just like you said, well, don't be out there at nighttime. Guess what? When we at home scared at night, they out there burning crosses. They out there meeting up together and stuff. You feel me? So if y'all ain't talking, if they ain't talking about that, bro, I send my condolences. I have my compassion. I ain't gonna disrespect nobody's name. But if we talking about going into today's system and try to play ball like them, bro, like, man, we going ahead and just gonna have to go create our own court, bro.
But see, the thing is, we weren't even meant to be here in the United States as free. We were meant to be slaves here. And this place is, you think about how the police was started. It was started from the slave catchers. That's why we got the driver's license, Social Security. And when they pull you over, the first thing they ask for you is your papers. Ain't nothing new under the sun, man. They don't
But we
flip
gotta
the
remember
script.
this too. We gotta remember this too. We were already over here. We gotta remember this. If we gonna sit here and go by the history of their history, that we weren't supposed to be here. But if we go by what really happened, bro, we was already over here.
Well,
How some people that was
what I'm
already
saying
over
is,
here that domesticated some people in some caves, and then they came over here and it was over here before us. Let's keep it 100, bro. So
That's open to conjecture, sir. That's open to conjecture, and that's probably not really on topic here. And that's open to conjecture because I would argue with you with historical books and documents and so forth and so on to show you the history of us and how we got here. So, I mean, that's open to conjecture. But
okay,
the
so
point is
when one of the
the
founding
point is that
fathers,
somebody mentioned this system. You have to understand that we live in a system of capitalism. Capitalism requires slaves. They have a system that's set from the womb to prison. And it's unfortunate that we fall into that the majority of the time. You're not going to change this system until you get rid of capitalism. Capitalism, capitalism is anti-black racism. And so the police are just a portion of that. Those are the dogs that protect the goons that run this system. You got to get rid of the goons. And I'm not talking about Biden.
I feel
I'm
you
talking
on
about
that.
the
I
real
feel you
power.
on that.
I'm talking about the real power. And the
But
real
when you
power
talk
knows the
about
real truth.
capitalism, when you talk about fascism, communism, all them isms, guess what? None of them is rocking with black people.
Yeah,
So if
I'm
you
not
ain't
saying that
talking
there's
about
another
creating
system.
another ism that's in our favor, I ain't trying to hear it.
No,
What
no,
about
no, 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 no,
spiritualism?
no. There's a system that does work. There's a system that does work. But that system was thrown away. And that was the system that our creator gave us to us. That's a system that works. All this other stuff that's created by all these white folks, it doesn't work because it doesn't come from the creator.
Hey, ain't no disagreement with that, bro. Cause I'm
I
saying
agree.
it ain't working. And I ain't trying to hear
Word.
anybody tell me let's go in here and let's do it like this and let's vote blue. No, I ain't trying to hear none of that, bro. If y'all ain't talking about, because at the end of the day, they doing it, they shedding blood out here in the
Yep.
field. And if
Yep.
we gonna talk about war and all that stuff, we losing on that aspect of it. but we such a powerful people that we able to go in their system and be the best at their system.
You know what the problem
If
is?
y'all haven't noticed, if y'all haven't noticed, the Most High has been fighting for us. He's wiping them off the planet. He's
Facts.
reducing their
There
race.
it
He's
is. There it
eliminating
is.
their race. See, he says, stand by and watch me fight for you.
There it is,
He's doing it
brother.
because he knows we don't have the. I was thinking about what would it take for us to really do it. We don't have the necessary physical requirements to do this.
Can I ask a question?
And they've got us so divided. They have us so divided. We be fighting ourselves.
I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
If I hear people talking about the Most High, and they talking about, spirituality, and I just want to say, when you think about this, and you think about it realistically, and we're here as men, right?
100.
We can't live in fear. We know that the problem in our community is that we refuse to unite. We refuse to unite, and we refuse to stand up together and defend what is ours. So if we, as a policy, are at the mercy of the oppressor, and we make every excuse for not dealing with him because we feel we're not matched, or they have this superiority that they can win, then why you guys keep talking about God? Because if you're speaking on God, then at some point there has to be faith. And faith is what moves mountains. Am I right or wrong?
Facts.
So what does collective faith and unity look like in the Black community? That's the question I want to present. What does collective faith and collective unity look like for us, no matter where we at?
Let me see if I could speak to that, my brother, because it's important. I don't know where everybody's faith is, and I'm not speaking over everybody where everybody is at. But where I'm at is I kind of agree with the brother. I ain't gonna say I kind of agree with him, but I do agree with him. And I agree with you too, because it takes faith. You gotta have faith. Our problem is that we fell from where we were before. That's why we're in the position that we're in. And a lot of us don't understand that. But it's only gonna last for a while, because I heard one of the brothers say that we're waking up. And conversations like this is a part of the wakening up, because we're coming out of the matrix, man. We've been conditioned so long. We've been indoctrinated in all these different avenues and spaces in their religions, in their times, and everything. We've been indoctrinated in all of that stuff. Now we're coming out of it, and now they're pissed off because we're coming out of it. You can't say nothing about certain people. If you say anything about certain people, you get shut down. Your channel gets shut down. Everything gets shut down. So we have to realize that we have to come together. But like the brother said, we have somebody that's fighting for us. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but these idiots are about ready to blow this place up sky high. And, I was in the military. I did my time in the military, and I know what military tactics look like. America's sleeping. They're sleeping. And all these other countries that's against America, they're planning and plotting. And they don't tell us none of this stuff. The only way you find out about anything that's going on, that's real, what's going on these rogue channels that they can't control. So we need to wake up, continue waking up for those that are sleeping, and get together and start talking more. That's what these conversations are beautiful. I love these conversations with my brothers and sisters, whether we agree or not, but at least we're coming together and we're trying to figure it out. And I always say God first, the Most High first, because at the end of the day, He's gonna have the last laugh. At the end of our lives and everything, He's gonna have the last. And they ain't been doing right by us.
That the whore Babylon, all her lovers gonna turn on her and destroy her. So stand by.
You know what? I am like all the blood left from my body. Okay, it did. I didn't know what to do. I was like, what? Because he didn't have a picture, so I was like, and that's kind of. I apologize
That's kind of the risk of I am not letting anybody else on here. If you ain't got a picture, I ain't letting nobody else on here. Lord have mercy. I apologize. I cannot apologize
That's not.
enough.
It's not your. It's not your fault. Like
You
cats.
know,
It's people that don't want you. Listen, cats be doing all kinds of stuff. I've been on different channels and stuff. Cats be doing some crazy stuff because they don't want us to get together. They don't want us to do this. You don't know who's listening. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who's out there watching you. Everybody's out there, man. They don't want brothers and sisters talking about this kind of stuff. This is touchy stuff.
Right
Yeah.
after bro asked what was the faith and the unity and all that look like, and when we start talking about it, that's what happened. So let's keep it 100. We know what time it is. This
Word
day
up.
system. We in day system right now talking about this shit.
Yep.
I
Yep.
just one more time. Like I'm gonna need and somebody else is trying to come on. Frank, I'm not letting nobody else on here. I see somebody named Susie trying to come. I see. Okay, I got in a what you call it? I think it's a white supremacist portal or something, brother. But listen, when I get off of here, I'm gonna need like an exorcism for my eyeballs or something.
Yeah, that was kind of rough. That was a little rough.
That was a heck of
Go
a
ahead and
picture.
contact them too and let them know that you ain't a part of that.
Hey,
Because
Demetri,
if you don't want us up here talking
They got
reckless
us
and
with
all
that
that,
one.
whoever
Demetri, you
did
should
that, they gonna try to report that. So on the real tip, you to look out for your channel. Like I said, I just seen like some people up here talking about this stuff that's like impacting my family because my mama talking to me about this. So I just wanted to reach out and talk to other people. And like I said, the enemy is in here. Like to look out for your channel. You feel me? Like I said, you contact them, do whatever you need to do because we still in their system. But that's what they trying to do right there. Because when they see like we got a different variety of brothers up here on the panel that's coming from different backgrounds, military, officers, from the street, from research and the political, militant mind. We got different mindsets up here just shooting the ish right now. This is what they trying to stop. Like I said, I don't know everybody belief, who they all that faith, because when you talk about spirituality, we talk what just happened right here happened in the physical realm. So yes, the war it's a spiritual warfare also,
Yep,
but
absolutely.
we talking about physical loss as well. And I ain't stuck on the physical because that's why I say don't come to me if it ain't talking about laying this down. Because in their system, I'm straight, my people straight, and my kids straight. I'm tired of this ish. If we ain't talking about tearing this system down, don't holler at me. If you talking about tearing this system down, come holler at me. Because I got experience. I ain't proud of it, but I got experience out here in law enforcement and in these streets. And I'm damn good at it, and I'm still here. So if you ain't talking about that right now, I'm using that energy on my family, protecting my family. But if you talking about voting, all that other junk, don't holler at me, man. We can talk, we can exchange ideas, but if we talking about actions, bro, I'm talking about tearing this system down, bro. Straight up. And I'm gonna be quiet because, like I said, I don't know how people channel is and everything and stuff, and they can kind of label this as whatever and stuff, but that's where my mind at. You do your imagination.
So
Absolutely.
Demetri, you should have them turn their camera on while they're backstage at least.
Yeah,
So
that's
you can
why
see
I see people, and I know who Digital Boy Filmworks is, so I'm not worried about that. But I see people trying to come on, so I think they've probably gotten maybe a white supremacist portal somewhere. But
hey, Sister Demetri, hey, just one thing.
Sure.
After this is finished, there is a way for you to edit that out.
I'm going to.
You know how to do it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool.
Thank you. Oh yeah, that's getting cut. Y'all can believe that.
You're gonna have people just to look at it, just to see that.
Right.
Oh, they won't be able
They're gonna be making shorts out of it and everything. Chop that up.
That's horrible, man. That's freaking horrible.
So, but anyway,
you know what I was saying when that came on? I was saying that I was watching one of Sister Lisa's videos earlier where Joe Biden said we're in World War III.
We in something. I don't know what I'm in right now. I think it's a state of shock.
And if that's the case, hey, y'all get y'all straps and be ready. And when it go down and stuff, maybe that's our time to go ahead and flip it up. But until then, if y'all
I'm
talking
ready.
about campaigns, I'm like, sure. If y'all talking about campaigns and presidents and lawyers, hey man, they dancing on and they get videos and stuff, man. Forget that, man. Come to death row.
Hey, let me add something. Let me add something to this to where we at right now with this. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
We hear you,
You
brother.
Okay, you think about it this way. We say we in a battle, and the sister said she don't know what kind of battle it is. Now, we know we at war, but do you know that the war Armageddon is the battle in the sky? It's the battle over the human mind. It's the battle over the airwaves, because we in this metaverse. When they say they created a metaverse, they were serious, because algorithms is controlling what people buy, what people think, what people believe. It's all controlled in algorithms. And that's why you seen that thing interjecting at us to distract us, because we were on a point where we were going to come to some conclusions. And the conclusions are quite simple, because all of our ancestors have been telling us the same thing. Unity, a collective unity, a collective mind, a collective spirit. I mean, we all want the same things, and we all suffer from the same ills. So what's the problem with us coming together and attack this system in a way that is conducive to each of our personalities? Like the brother said, I understand exactly what he's saying, because I'm not with that protesting and I'm not with that talking either, because they heroes say, give me liberty or give me death. I don't have no hero that says I can't move and I got to be this type of way because they might do something. Well, you know what? I might do something. So now what? I might do something. So should they stay in the house?
Absolutely, y'all. So you know what? I'm gonna shut this one down. I can edit it out. I'm gonna put it on private. You know what I mean? Until further notice. But I love and appreciate y'all dearly so much for coming on here. Sorry about that. Y'all know how them mayonnaise militia people are. So anyway, I love everybody except for the people who came on here acting stupid. I'm gonna shut it down. But I'm gonna see y'all later.
Okay.
All right. Peace, brother.
Thank you, Misha, for
Respect,
having me
brothers.
on.
Respect, man.